What's up, guys, and welcome back to another video. I'm Bandit Barney, bringing you everything you need to know about Red Dead Online, and today we're talking about the best money-making methods, the fishing methods that have worked so well. There's this one in Blackwater, which before there was like what I predicted to be a hot patch on it, it worked better than any other place we had known of. Now, there's a lot of people that have commented on videos and whatnot that have said that Showdown is the best place to make money, and I think overall that's probably true. It's just so beneficial to play Showdown, and that way you're earning experience, money, but also gold at the same time. In almost every sense, gold is worth money, except for ability cards. I think ability cards are the one thing in game that you can purchase with only money and not with gold. So in any other aspect, gold is worth just as much as money. This Blackwater method of catching these sturgeon right outside the butcher and then turning them in was the best just money making method that I had uncovered in the game and known of until it got like this hot patch. It just seemed that the sturgeon would stop spawning there as much, but may have found a workaround or a way to continue the spawn of sturgeon here. Now, every single lobby you play in is a little bit different. Some lobbies, certain areas where you go money farming is going to work a lot better. For example, if you're hunting north of Saint Denis, some lobbies you're going to get a ton of birds, you'll get a ton of alligators, you'll get all of this stuff will be there plentiful. Other lobbies, you're going to have to search for the alligators. Other lobbies, the birds aren't going to be hanging out in groups of 3. It really just depends. Some lobbies are going to be better than others. That's why it's really good, like we did earlier today, talk about spots where there's multiple options of catching either fish or hunting down these birds or whatnot. Because the more spots you have, then the less you have to rely on getting a good lobby. So we found another spot right next to the butcher here that's going to help you catch these sturgeon. And what you're going to want to do to start off this method is load into either a Lemoyne spawn, a New Austin spawn, or something. Get a lobby where you don't have a lot of people around Blackwater, and then fast travel to Blackwater. The less people around Blackwater, the better, because you're going to be here for a while. As far as I can know, this spot will just continuously work as long as you keep rotating. And after this, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the other spot. You start out by the butcher, and there's this sturgeon spawn right here next to the butcher that works super well. If you time your reel in right, you can catch the sturgeon right on your hook as you pull it up, and it'll be caught. You don't have to fight back. Otherwise, there's a few techniques I'll dive into a little bit more once we get to the other spot that help you catch these sturgeon. What you want to do is fish right here next to the butcher until you don't see any sturgeon. Then when that happens, throw one more line in just for good measure. Sometimes you won't see them, and then they'll spawn in and come up to shore, and then you can catch them again. But so you see, I didn't see a sturgeon here, and then all of a sudden it pops up farther away, and we know we can get it. The good thing about this is that you're so close to the butcher, you can just turn in these sturgeon for $7.25 and go back and catch some more. Initially, we could stay right here, and we could run this spot for like 10-15 minutes, and then I would say we'd go north to where we had the carcass method in the river there. But if we can keep getting sturgeon, it's the best way to do it. So staying here and getting as many sturgeon as possible is the go-to method. Now there's a spot actually south of here that works for catching sturgeon as well, and when we rotate between them, it works out even better, because as soon as one spot starts to run dry, we go to the other spot and it works out effectively as well. So we're going to turn this one in here, and then we're going to get over to the other spot. I always like to, if you caught a sturgeon, I like to come back to this area right next to the butcher and throw the line in one more time. But if you feel like you've gotten 4 or 5 there, you can feel safe to move on to the other spot, and we're good to go. So now you're going to go south. Just run south and bring your horse with you. You're going to want to come right up over to this jetty edge that pokes out into the lake here. And when you're fishing, I prefer using the special lake lure. It works really, really well for catching these sturgeon and attracting them. If you don't initially see them, like we're coming down to the water right now, it doesn't look like any fish are here. Not to worry. Pull out your fishing pole. There's in most bodies of water around the game, if you pull out your fishing pole around that body of water, fish will spawn there, even to the point where we did this video on catching fish in a backyard of a Saint-Denis of mansion, because this guy had a little water pond in his backyard, and you can get large muskies to spawn in there just by pulling out your poles. So we're going to throw it in the water here with your special lake lure on. You can use the lake lure if you don't have, if that's all you got, but I'm going to go over a method here that it makes it much easier to catch these sturgeon. And if you use a regular lake lure, there's a chance that you'll break your line and lose the lake lure when your line gets broken. But with the special one, you won't lose that lure. You only need one of them and it won't go anywhere. So we're going to catch the sturgeon in this side. And mind you, on this side, rather than closer to the butcher, these sturgeon spawn more often. That's what I found. So when you get in a fight like this with the sturgeon, what you really want to do is, this is your reel in button right here. If you reel in too much, you break your line. And the game tip tells you not to reel in while the fish is fighting back, otherwise you will break your line. But there is a fine edge you can walk where if you reel in just at the tiniest amount, it will prevent this sturgeon from running off and running away or swimming off really far. And what ends up happening is, if you don't use this method of just playing that edge by barely reeling in and not breaking your line when the fish is fighting back, these sturgeon, since they're large fish, will swim really far away, and you can get in like a 2-minute, 3-minute battle reeling these guys in. That's not what you want. You want to make it as easy as possible. So the best option is to catch them right on the line, right before you pull your line out of the water. And so as soon as they bite and you hook them, they don't have a chance to fight back. They just come right into your hands. But if they do end up fighting back, then use that technique of just barely pulling on the fishing line, just barely. And if you get it right, your line won't break and you'll keep the sturgeon near. He won't swim away as far as possible. This doesn't always go well though, so that's why you want to use a special lake lure, because otherwise you're going to be losing those lake lures. The special one you're going to keep. So at this side, we're going to end up catching 2 and just turning them in. Don't catch any more than that, because you're going to end up losing them unless you have another horse that you've brought here. So I guess theoretically you could go steal someone else's horse and then hitch it to a tree behind you or something, and then load it up. And when you go back to the butcher, ride the stolen horse and then just whistle for your horse to follow you. But what I choose to do is I just carry one in my hands and then have my horse follow me, because we're so close to the butcher at this point. It doesn't really make sense to go through all the hassle of getting another horse just so that we can make that trip faster. Doesn't really make sense. So you can see here, and I'm using the technique of pulling in, reeling in a little bit, even when the fish is fighting back. That way I can get them hopefully in one go. When these sturgeons start to fight back 2 or 3 times in a row, it becomes like you're spending a lot of time on catching them. I actually might break the line here. I think I do. Yep. So there it goes south. But this typically works really, really well as long as you're careful and they don't fight back more than once. When you do lose it though, it's like, I wish I would have just kept it on the line the whole time. It wasn't worth it. So this is a workaround, the Blackwater method, that initially worked so well for us, and then thought, okay, well, we're not getting as many sturgeon spawning over there. Just move down the lake. If you move down the lake, you can get the sturgeons to consistently spawn, and they do spawn more over here on this end. What I like to do is I grab them from this end. I'll go here, get 2, turn them into the butcher, and then I'll try next to the butcher again. Or if you want to give the butcher a little bit, that spot a little more rest, you can come down here. And I haven't come to this spot yet and not been able to get 4 sturgeon in a row, or 2, go to the butcher and then come back, get 2 more. So it works out really, really well. If you guys have other spots that you're using to efficiently make money, don't forget to comment down below. I'd love to see where those are at and where we can go to make money. Rockstar is going to come out with their next update, content update, later this month. I recommend to you guys, go out there, utilize this method. This method works really, really well for earning money, and you don't need to be good at Showdown to maximize its capabilities. You just need to work on a little techniques with fishing. And when we get that new content, we're going to want to have money, because who knows what's going to come out. We can anticipate wagons, more property additions, mini games, heists to work in. We need that money to be used to get those new wagons or whatever Rockstar is going to be bringing in. But whatever it is, I can guarantee you that it's going to cost a chunk of change to really have the most fun with it. So get out there and start grinding. Right now, this sturgeon method works so well. It's like a little bit above of the rate of money you earn other places, because done well, you can earn like between 5 and 7 sturgeon every 10 minutes, which comes out to you're getting like $70 to $100 every 15 minutes, 20 minutes. It works really, really well. I'm not sure if they're gonna further patch this area. Make sure you don't have other players around you, and this is one of the most effective, strictly money-making methods in the game when you're working around it and going south. Thank you guys for watching. Really, really appreciate the recent support on the channel. It means so much growing this thing, and me and my brother are having a blast. Hope to have you. If you enjoyed it, sub, and hope to see you in a future video. Until then, take care.